Hi, my name is Judy Schramm. I'm the CEO of ProResource, a social media agency that does personal branding for CEOs and thought leaders. And in this video today, we're talking about how to craft a powerful LinkedIn profile for a CEO. Now, if you saw the last video, we were talking about why your LinkedIn profile matters when you're a CEO. And the answer is that Google is directing traffic to your profile, Microsoft is directing traffic to your profile, and lots of people are going directly to social media and to LinkedIn specifically to learn about you. And they're all coming to LinkedIn, and so let's leverage this to help you grow your business faster. So, when you want to create a powerful profile as a CEO, what are the things you want to think about? And there are three key categories. But before we do that, we have to think about who comes to look at your profile that you care most about. Now, as CEO, you have multiple roles and you have multiple audiences. So you have customers, current clients, you have prospects, big deals that you're trying to close, you have partners, you have prospective employees, you have current employees, you have media. Maybe you're doing a new product launch and you're getting a lot of interviews lately. And maybe you're raising a round and you think about investors. So given one of those groups, choose one as your primary focus, and then you're going to craft your profile towards those people. And as you think about it, as you build it, you're going to be thinking about what do those people need to know about you to be comfortable taking the next step, and what do you want them to do, and you're going to be heading them in that direction. So now let's look at the three areas that you need to think about as you're building your profile. The first is the depth and breadth of your expertise. And what you want to do with your LinkedIn profile is to show people how you got where you are. What drove you to create the business, to lead the business that you have now? Where did that come from? So, LinkedIn was originally designed as a resume database, so you might imagine it is very easy to tell this part of your story. So you have a career history there in the experience section, and you have the opportunity for each of your current and previous jobs to talk about what kind of a company was it, what was your role there, what were your responsibilities, what were your accomplishments. And so you can easily tell your job history through the experience section. But there's more that goes into your expertise. So the younger you are, the more your education matters. And so you want to make sure that your education section is filled out. And if you are an entrepreneur who's straight out of college, you may have things like courses that you're going to want to include. And you can even include grades if that's part of your story. But the education is important. And then the third part of what you want to include in the expertise section is volunteer work. Now, this might be organizations where you are a volunteer, or you're on a committee, or you're on the board. It could be a nonprofit. It could be a company where you are on the board. It could be it could have been a special project that you were involved in. And there is actually a project section that you can use to tell the story of things that don't really fit neatly into any other category. But don't ignore the volunteer experience part, because for many of us, that actually gives us an opportunity to do things outside the normal scope of work, and it adds depth and richness to the story that we're telling. So piece number one is the depth and breadth of your expertise. And you tell that through your work history, through your education, and through the volunteer and nonprofit and project work that you've done. Now, the second piece that you want to think about is, how do you build trust? And there are three parts to this as well. So the first part is a proven track record. And so what can you include in your profile that tells the story of your track record and your accomplishments? So have you won awards? What kind of traction is your business getting? What if you have certifications, if you have articles that have been written by and about you, everything that contributes to showing people that you have been successful, there is a place for it. The most likely place to put it is in the accomplishments section, but you can actually embed this throughout the profile. And obviously, given your most important target audience, accomplishments that matter to that audience are going to be the ones that you want to focus on. So part one is the track record. Part two is social proof. Now, that has a little bit of overlap with the track record, but what social proof means is who else has checked you out and is comfortable, can recommend you, can act as a reference point. And so that might be things like who's in your network. It might be who do you have endorsements for your skills from. It might be your recommendations. But how can you show with your LinkedIn presence that other people are affiliated with you, other people have checked you out? The third piece to building trust is to show some personality, because people want to have a sense of who you are as an individual. And when they have that sense, that gives them a comfort level. So what can you do in your profile to show your personality? And the obvious place to do that is in your summary, which functions as the introduction to your profile. But you can include little bits of personality in a variety of places. And that all helps you build trust. So the second piece of the equation is how can you build credibility and trust on your profile? And that comes through showing your track record. It comes through social proof, and it comes from showing a little bit of personality. Now, the third thing you want to think about as you're building your profile is how can you allow people to build rapport? And that's an interesting one. How can they feel comfortable with you? And when they're having conversations with you, how can they feel like there is an emotional connection? You can actually do that with your LinkedIn profile. And there are a couple ways you do it. So the first is by aligning yourself with the audience. So what are some features or some things you have in common with those people? Now, if your target audience is prospects and you are, say, you sell technology into hospitals, well, what you would want to do is use very healthcare related terminology all the way through your profile, because then somebody from a hospital who comes to your profile will see that you speak the same language, and that will help them feel like they have a rapport with you. A second thing that you can do is you can put in some skills. Now, obviously, you're not going to claim anything that isn't true, but if you think about the group that you care about and what are skills they are likely to have, you can put those on your profile. What are groups, LinkedIn groups, they are likely to be in? You can put those on your profile. Who are they connected to? You can connect to some of the same people. And then when they scroll down your profile, they'll get to the highlights section, and they'll see all the things that you have in common, the people you have in common, the groups, the skills, all of that. And they'll feel like you are similar to they are. And people are always going to be more comfortable with people who they feel are like themselves. Now, the next thing that you can do to help build rapport is to be a little bit quirky in the profile. And the reason is because that gives people talking points for their conversation with you, especially the first conversation. Because think about it, if you've given them an opportunity to build rapport, if they can ask you something about your profile, if you can make a little joke about something, that gets the conversation off to a good start. And if your conversation is off to a good start, the whole conversation tends to go well. If the first conversation goes well, the rest of the conversation likely goes well. The rest of the relationship goes well. So, put some little quirky things for them to discover. And let me give you some examples. So, one of our clients is a member of the Loyal Order of the Pterodactyl. Now, I'm a dinosaur person, so that jumped right out of their profile, and that was one of the first things I asked them about when we had our first conversation. Another client has a skill of awesomeness. Now, you know that's not in the database. Well, it didn't used to be in LinkedIn's database of 14,000 popular skills. It's in there now. And that's the kind of thing that people might notice and make a joke about. And when they do that, first of all, you can tell they did their research. They cared about meeting with you. They went to your LinkedIn profile to learn about you. They brought away knowledge and information. That is going to impress you. And it rewards them for having done the work by helping them build the relationship with you. And the benefit for that accrues to you as well as to them. So, those are the 3 things that you want to think about. First of all, how can you tell the story of your full depth and breadth of your expertise? The second is, how can you build trust with your profile? And the third is, how can you help people build rapport with you on your profile? So, obviously we're going to talk more about all of this later on in other videos, but that's the essence of how you should be thinking about crafting your profile. In our next video, we're going to be talking about the 7 reasons many CEOs do not have a strong LinkedIn profile. But before we do that, let me ask you a favor. If this information has been useful to you, could I get you to share the video? Think of somebody who is doing interesting things, who has a powerful presence in the real world, but does not look as good online, and share the video with them. Thank you.